Good morning. My name is Matthew Gili. I'm the newly appointed president for URG. URG is a United States-based uranium producer, developer, and explorer. We are today producing and selling uranium out of our operations in Wyoming, as well as bringing on the Shirley Basin deposit, as well, and exploring on Lost Soldier.
Matthew, good to meet you, sir. Welcome to London.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, look, not too many people can talk about being a producer, and it is the name of the game, right?
It is, right? Today we are making yellow cake, putting it in drums, and selling it to the utilities across the world.
Right, okay. I want to talk about you first, though, if you don't mind. Like, you're new. You're 63 days into this thing. What have you been charged by the board to do? Why are you here?
All right. So, look, it's true. I don't come from the uranium background. I come from the gold and copper background primarily. What I've had the great privilege of being able to do over my career is to travel the world and to build and commission and operate multiple very large-scale properties. I've done this in South Africa, I've done it in Mongolia, I've done it across the western United States. So the real charge coming from John and the rest of the board is, okay, we want to take the skills that you've learned regarding business improvement cycles, regarding project management cycles, regarding just good old the management operating systems. Mm-hmm. We want you to bring that to URG. URG is staffed by incredibly competent, experienced individuals within the ISR space for uranium in the western United States. Come in with a fresh look, seeing some different ways of managing projects, managing business improvement, managing operations. Just implement that within the company.
Well, let's get into the weeds here, because I think it's important for people to realize the detail and the level at which you did this. You've worked in Mongolia, worked in South Africa, you've worked in Alaska, etc. Can you tell us who for and what roles were you doing there?
All right. Look, if I started my career off with a silver mining company called Hecla, in the world of silver, Hecla is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I started off my career straight out of university with Hecla at in those days it was the flagship Lucky Friday mine, a deep, hot mine. I was a young engineer and I learned my ropes and learned how to mine and all the aspects you would do for mining. I worked for Hecla for about 8 years, all across western United States and northern Mexico, and really got a great experience. And towards the end of my career with Hecla, they asked me to go to Alaska. In those days, there's a mine there. It's the flagship mine for Hecla now. It's called Greens Creek, and in those days, Greens Creek was operated by a unit of Rio Tinto, and Hecla was a minority joint venture partner. They sent me up there to help, with technical advice and expertise in underground mining for silver, and quickly integrated myself into the team and joined Rio Tinto and ran that operation for about 4 years. Got that going. It's now still the flagship. You changed the mining method, implemented paste fill, and so really that's a great operation. Then they asked me to go to South Africa, Palabora. At that point in time, Palabora was commissioning a block cave, and it was struggling. And so I implemented some systems, did my thing, and Palabora became a great operation in its own right, and got that running. Then they sent me to Mongolia. Same thing. Mongolia at that point, Oyu Tolgoi was in the construction phase. It was all about for Oyu Tolgoi. It was all about implementing operational readiness. And that is the concept that when construction crews are done. Yeah. What are you going to do? How are you going to take over commissioning? How are you going to train your people? How are you going to have the management operating systems in place? What are your maintenance systems going to look like? What are your standard operating procedures? Getting that all set up for a seamless transition from construction through commissioning to operations. Right. So that's the whole concept of operational readiness. Implemented that in Mongolia. Kind of finished up with that. I wanted to go back to the United States. I joined Barrick and I came back to northern Nevada and ran Cortez. Cortez is a fantastic operation. I mean, it was just well over 1 million ounces a year of production, and ran that for a couple of years. Implemented some systems there for development and growth. What is the development pipeline for Cortez? implemented that. It was well received,
Yeah.
and they asked me to come to the corporate office and do that for the other properties as well. And I was the chief technical officer there for several years.
Okay. So you've learned from the big boys.
I did. I got
Yeah.
very, very pleased. I mean, I've had the chance to work all across the globe, and I've been able to see all different aspects, the good and the bad, of how to manage operations, commissioning, and construction. And it gives me the ability to pick out the good parts and kind of skip over the stuff that isn't as good.
Well, you learn a lot from the good stuff, but you learn a lot more from the bad stuff, right? Because you're not going to make that mistake twice.
That's right. That's right. The
Even if
hardest
it's someone
times you
else's
learn the
mistake.
most.
Yeah. How does that translate into what your energy is? Look, your energy in terms of enterprise value, market cap, however you want to look at it right now, pretty darn good. It's getting there, but it's got a lot more potential, right? So we've got some production. We're bringing some more production on, and we're doing some exploration. So what are the bits that you're honing in on out of the gate initially, and then what will you be moving on to?
All right. Well, your energy is the complete package. It's a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Complete package. You've got Lost Creek. Lost Creek came back into production. It had been on hiatus during the low uranium prices. Lost Creek came back into production. Let's call it the commissioning and restart. Started about 24 months ago, 2 years ago, and they slowly brought that on. They are now in the process where we are reliably producing uranium. We produced, over 110,000 pounds in the second quarter, a big improvement over the first quarter. Now it's about implementing the business improvement cycle, implementing those things that are going to allow Lost Creek to reach its full potential, making sure you got the right crews in place, the trained staff in place, and also the right operating procedures.
So what does reach its potential mean for Lost Creek?
Pardon me?
What does reaching its potential?
Yeah, so look, the permitted capacity for Lost Creek is 1.2 million pounds. We use in our models 800,000 pounds a year of production out of the Lost Creek deposit itself. Seems to be the logical fit there, as far as, and I want to say that's the real potential. Let's call that the book potential.
Yeah.
But we're always going to strive to get to that 1.2 million.
Right.
And so I guess you're right. 1.2 million would be the real true potential for Lost Creek.
Okay. And then and maintain that for as long as possible.
That's right.
Efficiencies. You're driving down costs and making sure you're optimizing margin. That's the name of the game.
This is our business improvement cycle. And having a dedicated and focused program. It's not just random interactions.
Yeah.
But this is what we're going to do. This is who's responsible for each action. Checking up on those and giving the teams the resources they need to meet their objectives.
Right. So some people might say, hey, you're not a uranium guy. Yeah. You don't know uranium. You don't know ISR. Does it matter?
Look, it matters. I'm being trained in the subtleties of uranium. But when it comes to understanding business improvement cycles, I think I'm pretty good at that. And I interact well with the team. The team seems to respond well. So I'm not going to downplay how much experience and how incredibly competent the people that I'm working with in the uranium industry are. And I'm not going to pretend like the last 30 years of their experience doesn't matter. It matters tremendously. I'm here to implement more about systems because they didn't hire me as a uranium expert. They hired me as a mining expert for the things we talked about already.
Okay, sustainable
production and growth. That's what it's all about.
Okay,
right?
So that's really important for people to understand because I think all investors want to see a growth profile, and so your skill set's been brought in to help deliver that.
100%.
Not just you on your own, but others
with the
as
team.
well, right?
Yeah. So we talked about Lost Creek, right?
Yeah.
And that one's coming into production.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're building Shirley Basin.
Yeah.
So Shirley
How's
Basin.
that going now, right now?
It's going really well. So from the standpoint of the well field, which is really the mine for ISR, 5 drills running there right now. That's well advanced. The first header house is being built in Casper right now for placement. That's going really well. For the plant, they're again recognizing that the processing plant at Shirley Basin is only going to be resin capture.
Yep.
And the loaded resin is going to be trucked to the Lost Creek facility for turning into precipitate. The concrete's been poured. We're getting ready to set the tanks and build the building on top of that. The big rush, we're in Wyoming. So the big rush there is to get the building up before the end of November when the real winter comes. And so that's 100. Wyoming is a cold state, and Shirley Basin is noticeably cold in Wyoming. So it tells you, it's not Mongolia, but it's pretty cold.
Was Mongolia really bad?
Oh, Mongolia's cold. Okay, Mongolia is a whole nother kind of cold. We're going back to uranium.
Okay.
So we've got the Shirley Basin, which is in construction. That's going to be commissioned in the first quarter of next year. We'll start sending solution through there. We're challenging ourselves to get solution through the plant before the end of the year, but getting into real commissioning through the first quarter. And then the third property is Lost Soldier. Lost Soldier is proximal to Lost Creek. It's about 10 miles away. That is a property right now. We have exploration drill rig on it right now, doing some hydrology work. The deposit's well understood. There are thousands of drill holes into this deposit already. There is a historic resource of 14 million pounds that was developed with the concept of open pit mining. We're going back into that resource, and we're going to be focusing on ISR mining.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a different number for our resource, but the geology is well understood. We're focusing now on understanding the hydrology so we can apply the ISR principles to it.
Okay, so with the systems and processes and training that you're bringing into the company, obviously the onboarding of these new producing assets, Lost Creek and Lost Soldier, should be easier. I'm trying to simplify it a bit.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think that's the idea. Is look,
they're not sort of unique operations.
That's right. They're all there's a synergy there, right?
Okay.
Look, and that we focus. That is an absolute strategic advantage for UR Energy. We are focused in Casper, and we operate 3 properties proximal to Casper. Casper is a uranium mining center for the Western United States, certainly, and so that all brings a synergy to it. We can share people, we can share warehouses, and we can we're trucking material from one site to the other. That whole concept of synergy is very important to making us an efficient operation. One thing that you struggle with, as always, when you're a smaller company, is the ability to get efficiency, particularly in your G&A. When you're trying to develop properties in Australia and South America and Africa simultaneously, you are consuming a lot of G&A. We're focused on Western United States, particularly Wyoming.
So we better then define what the word growth means. Obviously, you want to produce more than you're producing now, but is there a point where you go, oh, sorry, because you've got to have an idea in your head of what you want to be. So we want to produce more than we are now, to a certain point, and then we want to be profitable. We want to make money.
100%.
We don't need to be an unprofitable super giant with multiple jurisdiction operations.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's that conservatism and pragmatism that John brings to the
100%.
party. Right. Okay.
The brilliant, John has brilliantly led this company through tough times. He has accumulated and retained an incredibly experienced staff led by Steve Hatton with the experience in ISR mining. And through tough times, he kept this company alive.
Yeah.
And has allowed us now to participate in the rebirth of uranium, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we're not starting from scratch. We're not trying to assemble a team of all new people. I'm the new person.
Yeah.
And so that has allowed us to be now that uranium price is going up, we are producing today and growing today. That's one of the very key principles I learned from gold and copper, is that the entities that make the real money are the entities that are operating when the price goes up. Not so much the companies or entities that are waiting for the price to go up to implement their construction program.
Or to raise cheaper capital or
yes.
whatever, and then miss the
They
cycles.
miss it.
It falls off.
So the cycles don't last long.
They don't.
You've got to be in production during the cycle.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think having spoken to enough uranium companies this month, and certainly over the past few days, it's clear that the challenge in this sector is supply. Demand, I don't even want to have another conversation about it, because we get it. There's enough demand, and there are probably more coming. But supply is where we've seen problems this year across the board, from the great and the good. People who've produced in the past and are reminded again that it's hard to kind of hit targets. So the fact that you're producing is fantastic. I've got some bad news for you, though. there's quite a few companies I've spoken to are hoping that you'll come in and take them out, or at least get involved, because you can produce.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking the question of, in terms of these processes, systems, and so forth, does that make it tempting, easier to maybe consider, see, I'm dancing around this one, working with some of these other assets?
What makes it easier to contemplate growth through M&A is to have reliable production already from what you already own.
And the money it throws off.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first matter of business is to get our current operations up and running, sustainable and profitable, bringing on the assets we already have in the system, and then going into, then what is the next stage? But your energy today has the next 5 years of both production and growth very clearly defined and laid out.
So stick to your knitting and stick to your own schedule. Don't worry about what others want or hope for.
Really, I mean, and again, we never have this black and white scenario, but we have a lot of work in front of us, and we have to demonstrate to our shareholders that we can profitably make uranium. From a cash cost basis, in the second quarter, we produced uranium for $42 cash cost per pound at Lost Creek. That's and that's not what we think is the ultimate potential. We think the ultimate potential is much less than that as far as the cash costs. But we need to demonstrate that reliably, make all of our contractual commitments, and then continue to grow.
Okay, yeah, I guess there's two sides to that coin, which is what can you do in terms of controlling your costs and what the market's doing.
That's
obviously
right.
Sitting at low 70s, it's not what people want.
No, but I will say it's perfectly fine for us. I mean, when we started this, we were signing contracts for $60 a pound, and we thought we were brilliant. So what we can demonstrate is that we have operations that can be cash positive at certainly a price lower than the price is today.
Yeah.
And that allows you, and again, if you look at the majors, what they do is they run operations that are in the lower quartiles of cost, so that they know that they can reliably operate during low periods and be ready to immediately capitalize on those price spikes.
Fantastic. Well, look, I better let you get back down there and meet a whole bunch of new friends down in the playground.
Thank you very much. Look, everybody's new. Everybody, I have met so many people, and I'm inspired. This has been very inspiring for me. I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about uranium, and now that I'm in the industry, I think I'm in the industry at exactly the right time as well. I think I got lucky here.
Feels like.
But boy, I'm inspired by the people I've met, by the energy out there. I'm inspired by how much utilities and consumers of uranium are interested in meeting us.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's as a producer, you've got a very different profile. So, Matthew, lovely to meet you, sir. And enjoy the rest of the time in London. See you soon.
Thank you.